It's official. It's official, everybody. The Hugh Aynesworth Awards are finally happening. Yay! Woohoo! And I know everybody's still kind of mingling and getting a last drink, but I think we keep the bar open. I don't want to say that too loudly, but yay. We had requirements for this event, okay? That was one of them. So thank you, Sixth Floor, and thank you for everybody coming. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm Carrie Broussard, and I'm president of the Dallas Press Club. I know many of you, but a lot of you are new here in the audience, and we're so happy to have you and to get to know you and to get to know you better. As you know, Cafe Momentum is our caterer, and isn't the food amazing? I mean, just... Candace, thank you, and Chad Hauser, thank you so much. So, finalists, you all have made this possible. Also, thank you. If you don't enter, you can't win. But you have entered, so thank you very much, and congratulations to all of you. It's very exciting. And on behalf of the Press Club Board of Directors, who, I hate to embarrass them, but I want them to stand. If you're on the board of directors of the Press Club and you're already standing in the back, that's okay. I see Frank. And here's my row in the front of wonderful people. Kevin Farrell. Oh, my gosh. It's Scott Keenan, Angela Madison, Corey Smith, Barry Hoffman, Joanne Holt-Causey, Martha Tiller, Frank Labrio. Am I missing anybody? It's Scott Goldstein. Oh, my gosh. Scott, hello, past president. And Tristan Hallman, y'all are trying to hide back there, okay? They're trying to hide from me. So thank you very much, very, very much. Your support without this, and you know, it has been a labor of love, and those past presidents of the Press Club and past board members, I can't name you all, but you've brought us to this point. Thank you so much. And it has been a long time in the making. And we should also, I would be remiss if I didn't shout out to our two honorary board members, Paula Aynesworth and Logan Broussard, who without their talents and hard work, and all the partners and spouses in the room, my God, without you all here, we wouldn't be here. Our grateful appreciation to all of our volunteers and members, and of course, our sponsors. And Kevin, I think if you could just click on the sponsors, Pierce and Allie Beth Allman, Visit Dallas, thank you so much to our gold sponsors. Our silver sponsors, the Dallas Morning News, Jackson Walker, Crane Lewis Brogdon, TCU Bob Schieffer, College of Communications, and Savor Dallas. Thank you. And the bronze sponsors, Joanne Holt-Causey and Durrell Causey, Martha Tiller and Company, KERA, NBC, Dallas 5, and LDWW. So thank you, sponsors. Yay. So, all right. I know you want to get to the real people up here that make you just go crazy about sports and journalism, and they are the leaders, and we have the icons up here tonight. And it's about honoring the best of the best in journalism. I believe your work in the journalism profession is more important right this minute than it's ever been, and I know that Dale and Hugh are going to be talking about this, and all of you as the recipients, and we have a lot of important work to do together. I want you to consider joining the Press Club if you're not already a member, or continue to sponsor this. This is your club. You know, without us together in this room, we can't exponentially expand. So let's do that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dale Hansen, who will get the show on the road.
Okay.
So thank you.
All right, good. Thank you all very much. Carrie said a moment ago, she said, Dale, you want to start this? I have nothing to say. And I'm thinking, geez, how long would that have been if she had something to say? Aren't you glad you invited me now, Carrie? Yeah. Welcome, everybody, for the Hughee Awards Awards. Mr. Aynesworth himself, ladies and gentlemen. This is true. Most of this stuff I'll just make it up as I go along tonight, I promise. But this is true. He has asked me 5 times since I've been here, what are you going to ask me tonight? What are you going to ask me? You made your living beating up people and asking them questions, and now you would. I did, as almost everyone knows, I do exhaustive research in preparation.
Oh, of course you do.
I just found out you and I have the same birthday, August 2nd.
But you're older.
Yes, what really bothers me, you were born 17 years before me, and I look 3.5 years older than you. In my research, Hugh, it was my biggest challenge. I wanted to ask you something that no one has probably ever asked you. So, you really think Lee Harvey Oswald did it by himself?
I haven't made up my mind completely.
When you were covering that story, was there any thought at any point that at a relatively early part of your life as a big-time reporter, that this is probably the ultimate story you're going to cover?
No, I don't think you had time to consider. We moved so fast. Everything happened, kept happening. I don't think we ever realized how big it was until later when we got 200 different conspiracy theories.
Are you at least a little bit surprised that here we are 50 plus years later and there are still people trying to sell a book on a conspiracy theory?
Not only surprised, but a little bit sickened.
Disgusted by it.
Disgusted.
Yeah. When you started, let me back this up. The other thing I found too, you've actually had more jobs than I have. Did you ever get fired?
Never got fired, but made some bad choices in walking out occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would make you walk out?
Well, one time I was up in Arkansas working, and they told me I was editor of the paper, and they said if you get circulation up to here, you'll get this big bonus. And then the guy forgot about it, so I walked out immediately. Became a plumbing salesman. I really did. But every night I was crawling under houses talking to plumbers because I really missed the news business. And it wasn't long till I got back. You see, I didn't understand that when you sold pipe to a big corporation, that you had to figure out how much it cost to get it there. And I didn't understand about left-handed bathtubs and right-handed bathtubs. And a lot of people still don't know that, do they?
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. They have left-handed bathtubs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
When you face the tub, if the drain's here, it's left-handed. If the drain's there, right-handed. Well, I sold a big motel job, 80 bathtubs, all the same. And that was the end of my career in the plumbing.
Yeah, they asked me to interview Hughee Aynesworth, and only I can get him to talking about bathtubs in 5 minutes. But you eventually came to Dallas.
I did.
And started on this marvelous career. What other than the John Kennedy, as tragic as that was, other than the John Kennedy assassination, as I said a moment ago, I would think that has to be the highlight. Is there something else that resonates with you after all these years?
Well, I think that I had a little problem with, there was a very famous guy named John McKee, who was one of the biggest people in Dallas in the 70s. He was head of the Crippled Children's Hospital. He was head of the Masonic Order here, and he was head of the Crime Commission. And I found out that he was involved in a murder in Pennsylvania under a different name. So that took some doing. The local TV and radio stations, newspapers wouldn't touch it.
Really?
He was a.
We were.
That's all your fault.
That was prior to Byron Harris being around. I was saying what you're telling me. Yeah.
But anyway, I was with Newsweek, and I had to go interview him, and I told him I knew who he was and what he'd done.
Let me stop you. You found out that this guy is under a fake name in Dallas.
Right.
And he killed somebody.
Well, I didn't say he was involved. He was in the Union and in the late 39, 40 era.
Okay.
And he would pull people into his office at night, and then the others who were against the union would beat him up after he left. He was the manager.
He was in charge of deciding
Right.
who got beat up.
Yeah, in effect.
And then you decided, so where'd you do this interview?
In his office at the Crime Commission. And
Did they beat you up? Is that,
no, but it was touch and go. Hey, I walked in there and there was a picture of Lyndon Johnson with his arm around him, and everybody who was famous knew John McKee, and he was the most powerful man in Dallas. And finally, I said, "Well, John," he said, "Well, Hugh, what are we going to talk about today?" And I said, "Well, John, I know who you are, I know where you're from, and what you've done." And he said, "I just don't know what you're talking about." And finally, a few questions later, he reaches in the right-hand drawer, brings out a .38, puts it to my head. I'm right here. And I was scared.
Really?
Hey, I never tapped.
Really?
I don't
know. What would you possibly be scared about?
You wouldn't understand. You're a
get
sports guy.
Yeah. Well, Jerry Jones put a gun to my head one time, but
I don't know whether he did, but I know he wanted to.
But you survived it.
I survived it,
Right.
and I tried to talk him out of it.
Yeah.
And
How did you talk him out of it?
Then he put it to his head, and I didn't want that to happen either. So I don't know how I got out of there. Of course, then he tried to sue Newsweek, said he was going to own it, and it was touch and go for a while.
I've never done that. I don't know how that happened. All right, here in my exhaustive research, explain this story, and I will get to the current media world that we're in. I promise I will. But you interviewed John Kennedy while he was in the shower.
Yeah.
Were you in the shower with him?
He didn't even invite me. Now, this was in '60 when he was running for president.
But I'll bet he wanted to.
Yeah, he did smile a lot.
And you interviewed LBJ while he was in bed.
Right.
And I have to ask, were you in bed with him? Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, I was sitting on the bed. He got back in bed. This was when the missile crisis in '62 had broken, and he allowed me to come up to where he lived, and he was tired. They met for days that week, and he got back in bed. He had his pajamas on, and it was sort of touchy too.
Did he have a left-handed or a right-handed bathtub? Oh, okay.
He never mentioned it.
And then here's another one. I mean, and I'm serious about this. I'm well aware of obviously, as we all are.
And I knew Jerry Jones when he played football at Arkansas.
Yeah, well, nobody cares about that.
Right.
You played basketball with Fidel Castro?
Yeah. Yeah, I was in Cuba, and we were shooting basketball out inside our hotel. This Jeep drives up, and it's Castro and his driver. He gets out, and he plays.
Could he play?
No, he was sort of like you. He was huge, and he couldn't move.
But he was the boy.
But he lied to me.
Yeah. But did you interview him too then, right?
No, he told me he would okay it the next day. And then when I tried to get to him, nobody would take me to him. So I never got the interview.
Oh, you didn't get the interview?
No.
Maybe that's because you slam dunked on him and it just ticked him off. You posted him up for a shot. All right, go ahead, wade in. Our media today, we're in a little bit of trouble, aren't we?
We're in a lot of trouble. And I don't know where we're going. I can never remember in my lifetime when I was so concerned, not only about media, but about the nation as a whole. The leadership, to me, is just, I don't know, it's tanking. It's bizarre. Every day we encounter and read about things we never, ever thought about before. And then somewhere there's going to be an explosion. I don't know where.
Don't you think it's rather chilling when the President of the United States says it's disgraceful what newspapers and media are allowed to print with no restrictions?
Well, I think it's horrible, and I think he's going to get his. I think it's going to bounce back. It already is.
It's not bouncing back as much as it should.
Not as much as it should, but it's going to be big.
What has happened to us where so many people have chosen to refer to what this industry does as fake news? It may not be all of them, but it's way too many of them.
Way too many.
Do we blame the media for some of the things that we do, or do we blame the people who have managed to sell the argument to a certain element of our society?
Well, I think we're somewhat to blame, but certainly the big blame goes to the people that are contributing to this fake news syndrome.
Who do you blame for that? Anyone in particular, other than Fox News?
I don't want to get into
You're too
politics.
nice a guy. You're too nice a guy. What do you think about social media as part of our industry? Twitter, Facebook postings, blogs. Is that good or bad?
Well, I don't know. I used to enjoy it, but now it's out of control. And I don't enjoy it. I think it's vehemently horrible.
You think we could rein it back?
I don't see how. I really don't. As long as we have freedom of speech, assumably we have freedom of speech, I don't know how we can do that.
See, this is what I don't understand, is how anyone can sell the argument of restricting free speech when that's the first thing that every despot dictator on the planet does, and yet Trump stands up there and says that maybe we should, and 38%, 42% of the people stand up and say, I'm with you. We're in a bad spot, aren't we?
We're in a terrible spot. I don't know what I would do if I was starting in the news business today.
What would you do if I make you king of the world?
I think the hours are bad.
What do you think about having your name on the Hugh Aynesworth Awards? When you were trying to up the circulation in Arkansas and then selling pipe for left-handed bathtubs, and I still think you made that part up. Was there a day when you thought, you know, someday they're going to put my name on an award to recognize young people who follow me?
Well, I never thought it'd be on that kind of a building, but, you know, maybe San Quentin or something of that sort.
Now you're going off the rails on me. Hugh Aynesworth, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to figure out how to get this thing on because it's killing me. Where's my... Are you going there? You got it? Oh, I'm sorry, forgive me. Where's Scott Goldstein? Scott? Yeah, okay. Let me, everybody back up and act like I just introduced Scott Goldstein. The mayor's rep, and Hugh, where'd you go? Oh, we need you back up here. I'm pretty sure this isn't for me. Okay. Well, Scott, act like you've been introduced. Go right ahead.
So, I don't need an introduction. I'm Scott Goldstein. I'm a press club board member, but also work for the mayor. And, you know, if you've been to our events recently, he's been to a couple of our events. He's a big supporter of the press club, but he couldn't make it tonight. But Mayor Dallas doesn't have a lot of power, I've learned, working for him, but he can issue special recognitions. So we issued this special recognition for Hugh and the press club. I'm going to read it now on behalf of the mayor. Whereas for almost 70 years, Hughee Awards has exemplified the principles of fairness and accuracy in reporting and editing, not only in Dallas, Texas, but also in news operations throughout the United States. And whereas his special dedication to reporting about events and people in North Texas, so rich in defining our culture and history, has been repeatedly demonstrated. And whereas the partnership between the Press Club of Dallas and Hughee Awards has cemented a commitment to promoting the causes of freedom of the press and the public's right to know, the truth regardless of how much it may sometimes hurt. And whereas Hugh has graciously consented to having his name used in the annual Press Club Awards to recognize exemplary reporting throughout the state of Texas, and whereas these awards will be known as the Hugh Aynesworth Awards for Excellence in Journalism, nicknamed the Hughees, sponsored by the Press Club of Dallas, presented annually to members of the news media, and whereas Hugh's friends, colleagues, and admirers join in congratulating him on this latest achievement, now, therefore, I, Michael S. Rawlings, Mayor of the City of Dallas, on behalf of the Dallas City Council, do hereby on November 30th, 2017, extend special recognition to Hugh Aynesworth and the Press Club of Dallas.
Scott, you're a man that needed no introduction. And you didn't get one, but welcome, ladies. Are we seriously calling them the Hughee Awards? Did somebody really sit in an office and go, yeah, let's call them that? There was a discussion. Oh, I bet there was a discussion about that. I bet there was. Welcome, everybody. I do hope you enjoy your night here. Forgive me if this shirt stained, but this is true. The young lady standing right over here, I was sitting back over here having a glass of wine. This lady walked up to me. She said, I love you, Dale Hansen. She grabbed me. The wine spilled on my shirt. And now I'm thinking, which one of us is going to get fired tomorrow? But I did not touch her. And I kept my pants on, which eliminates any chance I have of anchoring the CBS or NBC morning news. So. I do hate to break that to you, young man, that your wife loves me more, but you'll get used to it. I mean, it really is. I've had an opportunity to go through the entire list of awards that we have. There are several, very qualified. And now I realize why I have been asked to MC the event. They wanted at least somebody from Channel 8 to be here tonight. But when we do get around to introducing the presenters, which is my main job here tonight, and they list the different people who have been nominated, please stand. Even those of you who lose and then wonder why you even bothered to come. We want everybody to stand as your name or organization is being represented. So feel free to do that. And before we get to our first one, I'm going to take 2 minutes and crawl up on my soapbox. As Hugh and I were talking about a moment ago, I think this is an absolutely critical time in our industry. It's an absolutely critical time in our industry. We live in a world where the man who is supposedly the leader of the free world calls us fake news, thinks that it's a disgrace that we have the freedom to print and say what we want. And it reminds me of the great line from the great writer Molly Ivins years ago. I would rather a man burn the flag and wrap himself in the Constitution than wrap himself in the Constitution as he burns the flag. And I believe I screwed that line up completely, now that I think about it. What the hell did I just say there, by the way? I would rather a man burn the flag and wrap himself in the Constitution than burn the Constitution and wrap himself in the flag. Thank you so very much. I never did like Molly Ivins that much. I thought she was a sloppy-ass writer. It bothered me a great deal. I've been waiting all night to deliver that line. See, this is part of the problem, and you're going to have to forgive me for just a moment. I immediately got over here right after the 6 o'clock news, so I was here for like a 30-minute reception, so quite honestly, I'm drunker than hell right now. And I do appreciate the invitation. When Carrie and Barry both followed up, and they sent me all these emails asking me if I could possibly be here tonight to MC these awards. And then I'm thinking, press club, Cowboys game. Oh, hell, I'll be there. I'll be there. One last thing. A lot of people seem to think that I make jokes about Jerry Jones and that I am critical of Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, and that I'm always making some smart aleck remark about Cowboys owner Jerry Jones because I'm bitter about being fired from the Cowboys radio broadcast several years ago. If you understand nothing else I say tonight, if you hear nothing else I say tonight, I do hope you'll leave here knowing this. I do not make jokes about Jerry Jones. I am not critical of Jerry Jones. I do not make smart aleck remarks about Jerry Jones because I'm bitter about being fired from the broadcast. I make fun of Jerry Jones because I just think he's a goofy sumbitch and I'm not afraid to say so. I just think somebody should, and I've decided to be that person. Incidentally, I do apologize, young lady, and I know you're all having second thoughts about me being here, but I do apologize. My mom raised me in Iowa to know that, sumbitch is a dirty word. I've lived in Texas 37 years now, and I've learned, if nothing else, in Texas, you're either a sumbitch or you're fixing to be a sumbitch. Jerry Jones is a goofy sumbitch, ladies and gentlemen. All right, are we ready to go? Here we go. Let's get it started. The first presenter tonight is a press club board member. He's a reporter. He's an anchor at KXAS TV Channel 5. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey Smith, come on.
Welcome, everybody. We're going to speed through this. As Dale said, again, we will mention the two finalists, so please stand and be recognized, and then have a seat, and we'll announce the winner. Dale, it is a pleasure to be here, giving out tonight's inaugural Hughee Aynesworth Award. Happy to be giving out the award for investigative reporting in radio. We have two finalists from KERA and KUHF, reporters Stella Chavez from KERA, and I'm going to butcher your last name, Laura Eisensee. All right. See, you don't need to prompt her all the time. From KUHF for their examination of changes in the leadership in large Texas public school systems in a report titled Latino Superintendents Lead School Districts in Texas's 8 Largest Cities. Here's what the judge had to say about this broadcast. Chavez and Eisensee provide a wonderful overview of the Latinos who are now the superintendent of schools in the state's 8 largest cities and why that is such a significance for Texas school children. So congratulations to you two for being finalists. The second nomination also comes from KERA Radio, reporter Lauren Silverman's look into the licensing of what are known as pastoral medicine practitioners, report titled Pastoral Medicine Credentials Raise Questions in Texas. Judges' comments were, with clear writing, thorough interviews, and good use of sound, including an illustrative montage of audio from some websites, Silverman tells you what people who call themselves pastoral doctors say they can do for you, and also why you might want to think carefully before making that appointment. So congratulations to them as well. And the winner of the inaugural Hughee Aynesworth Award for investigative reporting in radio is Lauren Silverman. Pastoral medicine credentials raise questions in Texas. Obviously not Lauren Silverman, but if you would like to say a few words on her behalf, go right ahead.
I would. It's such an honor for Lauren to win the first ever Hughee Aynesworth Plumbing Award from the Dallas Press Club. I'm Rick Holter. I'm the VP of News at KERA, and it really is a great honor for Lauren. It's a tribute to her, and it's a tribute to this town, I think, and to the legacy that Hugh leaves for all of us. So thanks very much.
That way for pictures?
He wants his script back over there. Corey, you had one job. You had one job to read 3 paragraphs, and you couldn't even bother to figure out her name before you got up here. I mean, what the? That's why I'm glad you was reading it, because I wasn't going to read it. I'm sorry, young lady, you had no chance to win anything at our award ceremony. Our next award is for magazine investigative reporting. We still have magazines? Okay, all right. Magazine investigative reporting, and another member of the press club board, Tristan Hallman. Tristan, where you at? All right, here we go.
All right, I apologize ahead of time. Skip Hollinsworth was supposed to be our presenter, but he couldn't make it tonight, so I can finally say that I am a poor man's Skip Hollinsworth. So, Thank you, Dale. Our two finalists represent excellent examples of investigative reporting in magazines. First, from the Fort Worth Magazine, and I apologize if I screw up the name as well, Sean Chafin, whose piece on the backlog of unsolved criminal cases in Tarrant County was a clarion call to action. Titled Tarrant County Cold Cases Await Evidence, Witnesses, this report prompted these words from our judge. Sean Chafin did a fine job of weaving history, contemporary reporting, and telling detail to explain how unsolved cases still rattle the minds of those those involved many years after the crime was committed. It's an eye-opening look at how unsolved cases gnaw at both the police and the communities affected alike. And our second finalist is from the Advocate Media magazine in the Dallas community of Oak Cliff. Reporter Carrie Mitchell discovered an interesting wrinkle in student attendance at Dallas Public Schools and asked the following question. Why do so many suburban students attend the Dallas ISD's top magnet schools, to which she offers some revealing answers? Our judge commented the fact that well-heeled families from the suburbs were able to get their children into Dallas school district magnets was well known to educators, parents, and politicians, but uncovering the reasons and explaining them in detail is an example of fine public service journalism. And the Hugh Aynesworth Award for Magazine Investigative Reporting goes to Sean Chafin for Tarrant County Cold Cases Await Evidence and Witnesses. I screw up your name.
Hey, I really appreciate it. This was really unexpected. I was against a great reporter, Carrie, here. I want to just thank my wife, Kathy, who's here with me tonight, and thank my family, and I really appreciate it. Thank you to the Press Club. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Mr. Aynesworth. Thank you, Dale. Appreciate it.
What a fired up young man you are, sir. I've just won the award. It's a great honor for me to win this. I appreciate what you've done for me, giving me this award. It's a great honor for me. And, well, at least you got the family in there. What the hell? You're seriously having second thoughts now, aren't you? I mean, seriously. Our next presenter has a television broadcasting and public relations background. He's currently the chief marketing officer for Visit Dallas, and he's the past president of the Press Club. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Librio. Frank.
Thank you, thank you. I understand you're having trouble hearing us, maybe. Can you hear us now? Is that better? Awesome. It wouldn't be a Press Club event without an open bar and a little cursing, so Dale, you're welcome anytime. That doesn't even take a vote. Yeah, done. Thanks so much. I'm very happy to present an investigative reporting award in a category that didn't exist at the turn of the millennium, digital news. We have a single finalist tonight, reporter Mike McGee of the Arlington Voice, an online digital news site. Mike, are you here? Congratulations. His article titled City Mum on Alleged Police Quota System Refusing Document Releases brought this comment from our judge, quote, the investigative piece shows initiative and the reporter worked hard to try to get all sides of the story. Many questions remained as the investigation continued, but the groundwork was laid through journalistic hard work. Please congratulate Mike McGee with the Arlington Voice for winning the Hugh Aynesworth Award for Digital News and Investigative Reporting. Congratulations.
You're welcome. Thank you. Well, I didn't know we had to talk, and I'm more of a writer than a talker, so I wasn't expecting to say anything. But the competition was tough in this category, but a lot of talent, but made it through. Thanks to the Arlington Voice, my editor, Zach Maxwell. There's some kind of funny things going on in Arlington with the police department right now, and we're still digging. I mean, I'm a freelancer. I'll work wherever, but we're still digging in Arlington, trying to figure out what's going on with them. So maybe stay tuned. But thanks a lot. All right, see you around.
Hey, don't go doing it here. Seriously,
Yes.
when you put those shoes on,
Oh, yeah.
would you like lose a bet? I mean, what happened?
No. I go up about 6 inches.
Did you think to yourself, that's the look I'm going for?
Absolutely.
All right, well then sit down. Sit down. No, I'm sure you agree with it. Those are seriously one ugly pair of shoes, right? I mean, I'm not the only one who thinks that, am I? You think they're cute? Yeah. I thought you would. I kind of knew that. All right, what time are we on time? Have some of our award winners been talking too long? I mean, that bugs me when that happens. Our next presenter is the Southern Bureau Chief for CBS News and a member of the Press Club Board, Scott Keenan, ladies and gentlemen.
A little nervous on a number of levels here. I know.
I'll behave.
Thank you. Well, it's a special honor to be handing out the award for television investigative reporting. This category is one with 3 finalists, kind of demonstrating that TV news is indeed excellent in content and strong in competitive spirit. The finalists for television investigative reporting are Fox 4, DFW Dallas, reporter Lori Brown, and investigative producer Vicki Chen for their report titled, Broken System Fails Abused Animals. Our judges had this to say about the entry. It's a definitely compelling topic. The video was graphic, although wisely it stopped before showing any disturbing evidence of animal abuse. The next finalist is NBC5, KXAS, reporter Scott Friedman, investigative producer Eva Parks, photographer Peter Hull, law enforcement expert Don Peretz. The series was titled Big Buses, Big Problems, and deals with a number of abuses, both in bureaucratic and public safety, to children on the Dallas County school buses. Here are the judges' comments on that story. The original report breathed new life into 2 Hardy News perennials, traffic safety and education. The video is scary and appears sincere efforts were made to tell the Dallas County school side of the story, too. And finally, from San Antonio, KSAT, TV 12, investigative reporter Myra Arthur, investigative producer Dylan Collier, investigative photojournalist editor Josh Sanders. The report titled When Moments Matter prompted this comment from the judges. Classy editing, the drowned man being a war hero in 4 tours of duty was an important setup to something sympathetic and emotional, the randomness of drowning for a good deed, especially when help was actually at the scene. And the Hughee goes to NBC5, Scott Friedman, Eva Parks, Peter Hull.
Obviously, I'm not Scott. Yeah. But I will. Scott and Eva could not be here tonight. I think they're trying to figure out what agency to take down next. But they did want me to say thank you to the Press Club, thank you to Hugh. Within our newsroom, we understand how important their work is, but they are, I think, really happy to see that a lot of people are paying attention to this very important issue, and we will see where it goes next. But they will continue to be on the bus for Dallas residents and for Dallas school children as well. So thank you.
You made it through. I have nothing for you, sir. You are that incredibly boring to me. Yeah, I have nothing for you. Our next 2 presenters are a good part of the reason that KERA does such a great job in news and public affairs. Lee Cullum and Sylvia Kamatsu have been instrumental in developing local content for the PBS and the NPR station. And immediately after this function tonight, they're interviewing new readers for Prairie Home Companion. I'm sorry, too soon? Was that too soon? I mean, no, I just think it ought to be. I think I might try for that job if I'm still possible. Lee Cullum and Sylvia Kamatsu, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Well, Dale, I think you're definitely the one for the job. No question about that. We are, of course, thrilled to be here, Sylvia and I, for this inaugural presentation of the awards in journalism honoring Hugh Aynesworth. And of course, it's aptly named because he is one who's given his whole life to making sure the truth is told. Sylvia.
And I know we all agree, and Lee and I are thrilled to be here to present the award for Dealey newspaper investigative reporting. And we have two finalists. First is the Austin American Statesman. Whoop, there we go. First is the Austin American Statesman Investigates team for its series about Latino visibility in public office throughout the state of Texas. It's titled Silent Majority, Texas's Booming Hispanic Population, Deeply Underrepresented in Local Politics. The series elicited this comment from our judge. The team did a strong job of breaking out the reasons why through various stories and with strong voices across the state. As an incredibly well-done public service piece, this should have delivered a strong message to politicians everywhere.
And the second entry is from the Dallas Morning News. It's Miles Moffett and Sue Ambrose, who did very important work on hospitals and how they can be used and misused in a way that is really devastating for the people that they say they're going to help. The headline told it all, really. It's Bled Dry, How Hospitals Fall Victim to Fraudsters, Felons, and Profiteers. And the judges had this to say. The series gave our judge, I'm starting a sentence too soon. It's Miles Moffett. His writing is taut and sensitive and compelling. With Sue Ambrose in part 2, he broadens the story, again with well-documented reporting, to show that the Texas problem is not an aberration by any means. Stunning photography by Andy Jacobson and Erwin Thompson help illustrate the human cost of all this. The follow-up editorial and proposed state legislation are reminders of why stories like this work and why they change lives. And the award for the Hugh Aynesworth Excellence in Journalism Award for Investigative Reporting by a daily newspaper.
All right, it goes to Miles Moffett and Sue Ambrose with the Dallas Morning News.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Ooh, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Here you go.
This is a very nice honor, and in terms of what Hugh was saying earlier about the the crazy upside-down world we live in with fake news, I'm really honored that I work with a great partner, Sue Ambrose, and terrific editor and Leslie Eaton and editor-in-chief Mike Wilson, because they truly back the kind of journalism that is journalism with conscience. And I think, Hugh, that's what's going to win out and actually overcome the bogus news that is out there right now, also dispensed by our president. So anyway, thank you very much. This is a great honor. Thanks.
No, they're going their own way. They're newspaper people. They don't listen to anything. I just love Lee, seriously. All these great years in broadcasting, and this is how you work. What I'd like to tell you right now is, get it up here. Our next presenter is the co-chair of this event, and will probably be your MC the rest of the way. Barry Hoffman, ladies and gentlemen.
I was warned, but I didn't listen. Doing a great job, Dale. I wanted to send regards from Arnold Wayne Jones, who's the executive editor of the Dallas Voice. He's ill and he couldn't be here tonight, so I'll give the award for this award, which is for investigative feature reporting for radio. And we have two finalists. The first is KSTX, San Antonio Public Radio. David Martin Davies' report is titled Lessons Learned from a Night in the Bexar County Jail. Remember that. Yes, I know. Here's what the judge's comments were. The Bexar County Jail is a place where 4 inmates killed themselves in the space of 1 month last year. Davies got permission to spend the night there, and through his first-person account, interviews with a prisoner, jail guards, and officials, and the sounds captured by his microphone, we get some idea of what they may have experienced. The other finalist is also from KSTX, San Antonio Public Radio, Paul Flev's story, Ease in Anti-Overdose Drug Access Leads to More Lives Saved, which if you read it fast really doesn't sound great, but when you hear the report, it is. Paul Flev blends interviews with natural sound to bring us along with him onto the streets of San Antonio. This is an important look at a local effort that's trying to deal with the opioid epidemic that's sweeping the nation. Excellent community-oriented broadcast journalism. And the Hugh Aynesworth Award for feature reporting in radio goes to Paul Flev from KSTX Radio. Congratulations.
Thank you. Keep the script. Thank you so much to the press club and to Mr. Aynesworth. I don't know, I didn't anticipate giving a speech, so I'll just say that the story is really about an outreach team that led by Sean Baker and Frederick Courtois in San Antonio, and they don't get awards, so they're doing the work. They just let me tag along, and that's why I guess I won. So thanks to them.
I've known our next presenter for 37 years, ladies and gentlemen. I came to Dallas in 1980, and Ed Bark was writing for the Dallas Morning News. He made fun of me on a regular basis. He was critical of me on a regular basis. And I eventually, thanks to you, Ed, got fired at Channel 4. But then I went to Channel 8, and I joined the Below family, and Ed Bark made fun of me on a regular basis and criticized me on a regular basis. And now he does it on Uncle Barky, which I do read every day just to see how NCIS did last night in the ratings. Ed Bark, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so glad we're running way ahead of schedule, Dale. Before I get started, just a bit on Dale. This is true. My wife wanted me to tell you this. Remember that story about John McKee and holding the pistol to Hugh's head? My lovely wife, Madeline, is John McKee's granddaughter. And there she is.
Oh, well, thank you so very much.
Take a bow. I don't think she's packing, Hugh, but so it's true. Dale and I have we go back a long way. When I first came to Dallas, I was TV critic of the Dallas Morning News. Dale was toiling away over at Channel 4. I remember wearing a hog nose on the air one night, and I don't think it was his tribute to George Orwell's Animal Farm, because he also said pig suey at some point. Then he somehow made his way to Channel 8 about, 2 or 3 years later, after, I guess he's noted this many times, but fired by the same news director that fired him a couple years earlier in Omaha. Dale got over there, though, and Vern Lundquist, who some of you might remember, was still there for a while. Vern went on to the network level, and you might have heard of him. He is now in the National Sportscasters Hall of Fame. As for Dale, I think he still goes to bed every night watching that videotape of himself on the Ellen DeGeneres show. But, you know, I did want to say something nice about Dale at long last, and sincerely, because I think he's a great, great choice to be host of these particular awards, because everyone knows him for his strong opinions over at Channel 8. It's kind of a cliche, but he speaks truth to power, and he does. I also know Dale as the guy who answers every single viewers and readers and whatever email, and also as the guy who actually talks to people who cover television, and hell, he even talks to me still. That's a rarity, believe me, in times of corporate ownership from afar of all 4 stations, and people very afraid to speak their minds, certainly off camera. So I really do commend Dale for that, because he's, he is one of a kind, without question. And when he hangs it up, leaves a scene probably at the end of next year, but who knows. He keeps threatening to retire. They might as well tear the stage down as well. He is one of a kind, seriously. We're lucky to have him here. You may not agree with him all the time. All right. Otherwise, my category is without any real suspense. We have 1 nominee and, of course, then 1 winner. It's in the feature reporting for a daily newspaper category. The subject of the feature, by Phil Jankowski of the Austin American-Statesman, is named Elizabeth, but she's a special kind of person. She was a product of the Nash Automobile Company. The title of the feature is A Rambler's Life. My dad once owned a Rambler, and our judge was really impressed, it says here. That story on the Rambler is a sheer delight all the way to the last quote. So please join me in congratulating the winner of the Hugh Aynesworth Award for feature writing in a daily newspaper, Phil Jankowski of the Austin American-Statesman.
I just wanted to say there was a wreck on the highway or something and they didn't make it, but I wanted to just make a point. I just wanted to make a point, and thank you, Ed, for coming in. Don't leave yet. Because the firecracker judges that we keep talking about, they're amazing, and Barry Hoffman was able to scan the country and find some of the most amazing judges. So I wanted to point that out. They're listed in your program. So they're from all over the country. They're from the Los Angeles Times, the Orlando Sentinel, the Stanford Advocate, Washington Post, U.S. News and World Report, CBS Network, just all over the country, high-level judges. So thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll take this award, I guess. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Congratulations, Carrie.
There you go, everyone. All right. I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the second 100 years of the Ed Bark story. Right on. And incidentally, Mrs. Bark, Hugh wanted me to tell you that he made that whole thing up, and your grandfather was a hell of a nice young man. Hugh, let's be honest about this. Hugh didn't get to the top of where he is by reporting simply facts. Come on. Since we are ahead, though, you do remember the story. Jim Maroney, the publisher, publisher, editor of the Morning News, took me to Tulsa one time to speak to a group up there. And this was shortly after our SMU investigation, when our governor at that time, Bill Clements, said, I didn't lie to the NCAA because I didn't have my hand on a Bible. And I just blew him up, as you might imagine. And I'm calling him every name in the book. And I said, you have to understand, I live in a state where the governor says it's okay to lie if you don't have your hand on a Bible. I said, this lying son of a bitch, Bill Clements. We're driving back to the airport, and Jim Maroney looks at me, and he goes, I don't know if you know this or not, but Bill Clements is my father-in-law. True story. True story. And I kind of looked at him, and he goes, and I don't think you care. I said, no, quite honestly, I don't. And I'm still here. Our next presenter is a journalist covering Dallas city government for the Dallas Morning News. He's been here before. Let's bring him on back. Replacing Skip Hollandsworth, and did a marvelous job with that. Tristan Holman, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, playing the rich man's Tristan Hallman now. Well, thank you again, Dale. So when we think about the media, and most people use that term in quotes, we're usually referring to big city newspapers or big radio stations or even bigger TV operations. But the backbone of the news media in Texas, as it is in most of the United States, is the weekly newspaper. In Texas, more than 90% of the state's 414 newspapers, we'll have to fact check that, are weeklies, which often labor under less than ideal economic conditions. But their commitment to bringing their readers solid local news places second to none. Here are the two finalists for Best Feature Reporting by a Weekly Newspaper. From the Progress Times in Mission, Texas, reporter Jose de Leon III offered a story headlined, "Samaritans Donate New Abode to Mission Octogenarian." That's a mouthful. Our judges commented, "A lovely story and the best kind of local news. Good news. It was well written with great quotes and great detail on what happened. It gave you a sense of really being there." Our second finalist is from the Howe Enterprise, not surprisingly in Howe, Texas, where the reporter and editor Monty Walker reported on the town's recovery from a tornado. Headlined EF1 Tornado, EF5 Community. The feature brought this comment from our judge. This story is the very definition of local news and why it still matters. It was produced on only 5 days after the tornado went through, with an on-the-scene feel running through the text and an amazing spread of photos. Without further ado, the Hugh Aynesworth Award for feature reporting by a weekly newspaper goes to Monty Walker with the Howe Enterprise.
Well, I'll be a son of a bitch.
You're getting there. You're getting there.
Unlike everyone else, I've been preparing for this speech since 1991. That's the year I won the English Award in high school out of my entire class, 57 students at Howe High School. Before tonight, that was kind of the peak of my journalism career. But first of all, I want to thank my wife. She's been, when you're a one-man operation, you're the editor, you're the journalist, photographer, sales department, in a weekly newspaper, you're everything. And all the time, I want to say, I want to quit. Every day almost, I want to quit, it's too much. She always says, keep going. And she reminds me that, hey, you won the English Award. Well, I'm in a room full of great journalists, excellent journalists, and I am not one. I'm just a guy who loves my community. And our particular community is a special place. There's 3,100 of us. We would fit nicely right now at Jerry Jones' World over there in one little tiny section. But it's that atmosphere and that camaraderie when something happens in our community, like a tornado that rips through our town, to see the people come together and to see the community, the churches, and everyone act as one. That's what it's all about. And I tell you what, it's pretty easy to write a story about that. And you can't screw that one up. So I'd like to thank the Press Club. I'd like to thank Hugh Aynesworth and all that's been a part of it. And I'd like to thank Scott Caldwell for being with me here. He's a great journalist. Was with the McKinney Courier-Gazette for many years, the Herald Democrat, Sherman Democrat. I actually wanted to have a true journalist with me, so thanks for coming, Scott. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow. 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 That's how it's done. Now, That's how it's done. So now we're going to start over and give all you award winners a chance to make up for that crap that you spewed up here earlier. Because that is how it's done. I just want to say it. I just want to thank everybody for giving me the award. It was very nice of me to do that. So. I'm trying to slow down because I understand I'm way ahead, but I'm hoping if I get done fast enough, the bar stays open. Is that the deal? Okay. Yeah. All right. Our final 2 awards, and before I bring you back here, I have a final word. Let me introduce you. Don't be in such a hurry here. Apparently you don't understand. Dale Hansen is the MC. You're simply the presenter, and you do not get up here unless I say so. All right, I'll say so now. Joanne Holt-Causey and Barry Hoffman again, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Paula Aynesworth, who is not a shrinking violet and who was very much involved in selecting these awards, has said that you haven't actually seen them. So here is a Hugh Aynesworth Excellence in Journalism Award. And she actually was the main selector of this, so that's the first thing. Secondly, Secondly,
between you and Lee Cullen, you're going to destroy the entire podium out there.
You're right. Secondly, we said at the reception to all the finalists, nobody goes away without an award, and that is true. For those of you who are finalists but did not win the Aynesworth Award, there are some really nice certificates up on the table for you. Make sure you take the one that belongs to you. That's another thing about the competitiveness of journalism. And finally, before we get to the award, I want Hugh to know, and I want Dale to know, my cousin Sonny Friedman is here today. He is the owner of Atlas Plumbing, and he will be glad to tell you about left-handed bathtubs and rectangular toilet seats. Oh. And now we'll go.
Thank you, Barry. I would also like to thank all of you who are here tonight. We're just so happy that you're all here, and I'm sure you're all going to agree this has been an amazing evening, and since the bar is still open, it's going to get even better. I want to thank all the Press Club volunteers who worked so hard to make it happen, including my special deputy, Stacy Bridger. Wave, Stacy, who handled the volunteers for us. And the trophies are beautiful. Thank you, Elaine Kepler.
Also a special thanks to all the sponsors of this event, and you've seen their names flashed all night long. And in the program, it is gratifying to know that there are so many champions of great journalism who have supported our efforts.
Okay, let's get down to our final finalists. We have one finalist in the category for feature photography by a daily newspaper. Jay Janner of the Austin American-Statesman. His South by Southwest Music Festival photo essay received these comments from the judge. Janner's photographs of Austin's annual South by Southwest Music Festival did not focus solely on the bands performing, but the emotion, the overall scene, including a flash of lightning. He clearly told the story from all angles, which kept the viewer clicking through the gallery.
So join us in congratulating Jay Janner for winning the Hugh Aynesworth Award for Daily Newspaper Feature Journalism.
Unfortunately, I think he's one of the ones who was stuck in the wreck on the freeway and didn't make it here.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And we do have a single finalist, and I think a special one. in the category of daily newspaper spot news photography. All of us will remember the terrible night of July 7th, 2016, when a renegade sniper killed 5 Dallas police officers and injured 9 others. If anyone needs a strong reminder, Robert Moore's photograph of Dallas Patrol Officer James Dillon Smith will jolt your memory. Moore was in the middle of the violent confrontation and took a photo of Smith that went viral on media around the world. Here's what our judge said. The intensity of the gaze of the police officer indicates he is on high alert and determined to do his job whatever the cost. The shallow depth of field and night street light also adds more intensity without having to show more of the scene or exactly whom he is trying to protect. And you also get the sense that the officer, despite the situation, was calm, controlled, and professional. Join us in honoring Robert Moore with the Hugh Aynesworth Award for Spot News Photography.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm on fire. I'm some bitch. And my shoes are by Christian Dior.
Yeah. I actually like those.
All right, thank you. Now that that is out of the way and I'm okay, am I go everyone?
Well, not necessarily.
All right. After the photo was published, I got hundreds of Facebook messages, emails, text messages, again from all around the world. And the one that sticks with me and the one that I remember the most was from a guy who said, Mr. Moore, I run a police academy in a small parish in Louisiana. May I have a copy of your photo to put in our training center? Because this is what we aspire our officers to be, and I want them to see your photo every day. I sent him a copy. That's the only publication I need. Thank you very much.
No, I do love the shoes. I really do. But I love standing next to you in the bar because then everybody comes up and says, hey, who's that hairy guy standing next to Robert Moore? And I go, that would be me. That would be. I would be remiss. I'm getting to you, Carrie. I would be remiss if I didn't introduce, with all due respect to Hugh Aynesworth, because quite honestly, I don't know who that is. I read on Wikipedia. But the best investigative reporter I've ever known, and I've only been doing this for a little more than 42 years, Byron Harris, formerly of Channel 8, is here. The very best there's ever been. And it has been said by everybody, and I will leave you with this simple thought before I bring you back up, young lady. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm not leaving. I'm hoping there's a check in there is what I'm counting on. As I said at the very beginning, I think we are at a crossroads in America. I think we are at a crossroads in our business. And whether it's television, whether it's magazines, newspapers, whether it's digital, whether it's websites, we have this obligation, we have this responsibility, and we have this opportunity to shine a light on America and the secrets that so many of our government leaders try to keep. I live my life, because I am a self-proclaimed liberal from many years ago, by what former Massachusetts Senator Ted Kennedy said. And I would strongly suggest you all give it a thought. We know the future will outlast all of us, but we live on in the future we make. I love that quote. I live that quote. I'm 69 years old, and the thing that eats at me every single day is that the dreams I had as a boy are not going to come true in my lifetime. I'm not a religious person, but I do believe this. We know the future will outlast all of us, but we live on in the future we make. That's what everyone in this room does. We do that for ourselves. We do that for our families.
We do that for our friends and our coworkers, and I happen to do it for my granddaughter. And I sincerely thank you for letting me be a part of your very special night. Thank you very much.
We have a major presentation for you with a gift bag with a bottle of champagne.
Oh, you know me too well.
Yep. And there's some chocolate and a little something in there.
Oh, I don't do the chocolate.
Okay.
I mean, look at me.
Okay.
I promised my wife this year that I would lose 40 pounds. And I've got I got the month of December to go. And I have 47 pounds to go. So
Yeah, I can relate to that.
It'll be a little hard for me.
Well, there's not a check in there for you,
Oh,
but and I'd love to hear what you think about this. We actually decided as a press club board to have a cash prize for each of the winners. So I'm sorry, finalists, you don't get the cash prize, but the winners, we have a $100 check for each of you. So if you could see our treasurer, Tristan Hallman, somewhere back here, money bag back there, our treasurer, and so that was really important to Tristan and to us to have a monetary prize as well.
The guy from the weekly paper just made his house payment with that $100.
Yeah.
No, that's his whole month's salary right there.
So we mean this. We want to keep this going. We know it's important. We know it's about making a living at a profession that's important. Just everything that Dale and Hugh said, I reiterate, because I'm not going to have the eloquence that you all have. But the good thing is there's the wine still open, and after a glass of wine, I sound really good. So we do. Yeah, we can do that. But we're kind of thankful that we have this time because now we can talk. We can take pictures of the winners together and the finalists. So I'm not sure if I have my art director, but Angela, what do you think? Everybody over here for the finalists and the winners? And pretty much the whole group, just come over here. We'll get your picture taken. John.
No, I'm going to the bar.
Let's go to the bar, but we must have the winners over here for pictures with no drinks. Okay. Okay, let's just go to the bar. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Dale. You made it. It was fun. It was fun.